Hello, good morning students. This is Manjri Anand and today we are going to discuss about saving function. आज हम लोग बचत फलन के बारे में चर्चा करेंगे. What is saving function? Saving function is a functional relationship between saving and national income. बचत फलन बचत और राष्ट्रीय आय के बीच का फलनात्मक संबंध दर्शाता है. So here we can see that we denote it by this s is equal to function of y. S is a function of y where s is saving and y is national income and f shows the functional relationship. Now what is propensity to save? Saving function or propensity to save shows the saving of a household at a given level of income during a given period of time, or propensity to save shows different level of savings at a different level of income in an economy. आशा ये है कि बचत फलन या बचत की प्रवृत्ति किसी भी हाउसहोल्ड के दिए हुए आय के स्तर पर उसके बचत की प्रवृत्ति को दर्शाता है, या फिर हम यह कह सकते हैं कि बचत प्रवृत्ति डिफरेंट इनकम लेवल्स पे विभिन्न आय के स्तर पर बचत के विभिन्न स्तरों को दर्शाता है. नाउ देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ प्रोपेंसिटीज टू सेव. दो तरह के बचत प्रवृत्ति होती हैं. फर्स्ट इज योर एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव विच वी डिनोट बाय APS, औसत बचत प्रवृत्ति, and second one is MPS, marginal propensity to save, that is सीमांत बचत प्रवृत्ति. Now what is average propensity to save? Average propensity to save refers to the ratio of savings to the corresponding level of income. It is simply calculated by saving divided by income. Next is our MPS, marginal propensity to save. So marginal propensity to save refers to the ratio of change in savings to change in total income. It is calculated by change in saving यानी del S by del Y. Okay, so बचत प्रवृत्ति सीमांत बचत प्रवृत्ति क्या दिखाता है? ये दिखाता है कि आय में होने वाले परिवर्तन से बचत में कितना परिवर्तन हो रहा है, उसको हम सीमांत बचत प्रवृत्ति से देखते हैं. नाउ MPS वेरीज बिटवीन 0 एंड 1. जो सीमांत बचत प्रवृत्ति है उसका मान, उसकी वैल्यू जो है 0 से 1 के बीच में वैरी होती है. देयर कैन बी टू केस. फर्स्ट, MPS इज इक्वल टू 1. MPS 1 के बराबर तब होगा इफ़ द इंटायर एडिशनल इनकम इज सेव्ड. जब बढ़ा हुआ पूरा का पूरा इनकम सेव कर लिया जाएगा. इट मीन्स दैट del S इज इक्वल टू del Y. When change in income is equal to change in saving, in that case MPS will be 1. And the second case will be when all the additional income, all the change in income is being consumed. पूरा का पूरा जो इनकम में परिवर्तन हुआ था उसको अगर उपभोग कर लिया जाएगा, इन दैट केस del S इज इक्वल टू 0. उस केस में चेंज इन सेविंग विल बी 0 एंड हेंस MPS विल बी 0. नाउ there is comparison between APS and MPS. This is important in terms of your examination point of view. So how can we differentiate APS and MPS? APS और MPS को हम 2-3 मद में उसको डिफ्रेंशिएट कर सकते हैं, उसमें अंतर बता सकते हैं. पहले हम उसके डिफिनीशन के बेसिस पे उसको डिफ्रेंशिएट करेंगे. डिफिनीशन दोनों का बताएंगे, APS के डिफिनीशन देन MPS के डिफिनीशन. देन वैल्यू जो MPS की वैल्यू कब 0 हो सकती है या नहीं हो सकती है, APS की वैल्यू 0 हो सकती है या नहीं हो सकती है. देन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ देयर फार्मूला. ये 3 पॉइंट्स हमने बताए हैं डिफरेंसेस के. सो APS का फार्मूला, APS का डिफिनेशन आप बताएंगे. फिर एमपीएस का बताएंगे, यहाँ पे बताया हुआ है एपीएस इट रेफर्स टू द रेशियो ऑफ सेविंग टू करस्पॉन्डिंग लेवल ऑफ इनकम एट अ पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। एमपीएस यानी मार्जिनल प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव, इट रेफर्स टू द रेशियो ऑफ चेंज इन सेविंग टू द चेंज इन टोटल इनकम ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। देन value less than 0. In case of APS can be less than 0 when there is this saving till consumption is more than national income, and MPS can never be less than 0 as change in saving can never be negative. Change in consumption can never be more than change in income. And then on the basis of formula, APS is equal to S by Y, MPS is equal to del SY del Y. Then coming to the relationship between APC and APS. APC और APS के बीच में क्या संबंध है, हम उसके बारे में बात करते हैं. तो we know means first thing is the sum of APC and APS is equal to 1. This is the basic relationship between APC and APS, and this can be proved. How it can be proved? So this can be proved by using this notion that Y is equal to C plus S. Y means income. Income is the sum of consumption and saving. Here we can see Y means national income is the sum of consumption and saving. जो हमारा आय होता है उसके या तो उससे हम कंज्यूम करते हैं और कंजम्पशन से जो बच जाता है उसे हम सेव कर लेते हैं. So taking this equation, dividing both the side of Y, dividing both the sides by Y, we get, if we take this as equation 1 and we'll denote divide it by Y, then we'll get Y by Y is equal to C by Y plus S by Y, and you know that C by Y is this, C by Y is APC and S by Y is APS. So Y by Y is equal to 1 and APC 1 is equal to APC plus APS. Okay, therefore this becomes APC plus APS is equal to 1 because income is either used for consumption or for saving. Now next is the relationship between MPC and MPS. Again the relationship between MPC and MPS is the sum of these two is always equal to 1, and this can be proved by using this notion del Y is equal to del C plus del S, again dividing both the side of Y by del Y. Okay, here del Y divided by del Y is equal to del C divided by del Y plus del S divided by del Y, and this gives us 1 is equal to MPC plus MPS. Therefore this will always happen that MPC plus MPS is equal to 1 because total increment in income is either used for saving or for consumption. Now we are coming to the derivation of saving curves for consumption curve, from consumption curve. Okay, so we know that Y is equal to C plus S. Okay, in our previous class we have drawn the graph, the line consumption function. So I told you that this consumption function always starts from this y-axis. Here you can see here, and this intercept denoted by C bar. Okay, this is autonomous consumption. So C consumption curve is originating from y-axis, and the gap between the difference between this origin to originating point of consumption is C bar, and the Y curve, that is our income, national income curve, it starts from the origin and it makes the 45-degree angle, and here the point E, it shows the break-even point where consumption, all the income is being consumed. So it's the point where Y is equal to C and there is no saving. Okay, and the point where we are saying this is autonomous consumption, that C bar, this C bar implies there is dis-saving. So consumption and saving curves are complementary curves as they together makes up income, because we know that Y is equal to C plus S. So consumption and saving, these two things makes income curve. Therefore, if one of the function is known, then the other can be obtained. So this is the consumption curve, and 45-degree line OY represents the income curve. At the level of income, autonomous consumption C bar is equal to OC. This you can see, C bar is equal to OC. Okay. It means saving at zero level of income will be OS. When we'll take it in the next quadrant where y-axis is in negative quadrant. At that point, saving will be minus C bar. Minus C bar. Here you can see minus C bar. Okay. So the autonomous consumption is actually the dis-saving. As a result, the saving curve will start from point S on the negative axis, negative y-axis. So S will start from here. Here you can see S will start from here. It will be exactly equal to this C bar. Okay. Consumption curve CC intersects income curve OY at point E, and this is the break-even point, and the saving are 0. It means saving curve will intersect x-axis at point R. When we'll draw a perpendicular on the negative y-axis, then we'll find that this will intersect the x-axis at point R, and here is the point where saving is 0 and consumption is equal to y, and when we'll extend this curve, then we'll find the saving curve. Okay, so by joining the points S and R and extending it further, we'll get SS curve. So this is how we'll construct saving curve from the consumption and income curves. Okay, so thank you for today. We'll continue our discussion in our next class.